Hey folks, what makes this toy great? Today we're looking at 1989's Pretender Classics Bumblebee. And it's less about the Pretender aspect, more about the Bumblebee aspect. But you know what the Pretenders are. They were the ones where there was an outer shell made of rubber and plastic, and it was in the shape of a human or a monster. And rattling around inside was a transforming robot. And then after a few decades, that rubber, the rubber part of the outer shell would turn slimy and spotted with some kind of a mold. The slime is easy to wipe off with soapy water. The mold, I'm not sure what to do with that yet. It goes pretty deep. And in year two of the run, they brought back one of our favorite OG characters. It's Bumblebee. And if that doesn't look like Bumblebee to you, well, maybe it looks like Buck Rogers. But inside, the robot was definitely Bumblebee. It was this kind of off road inspired dune buggy or rock crawler. I think he would fit in with the Mad Max universe. Transformation is easy. You just pull the feet down and fold the arms out, leaving him with an unfortunate cod piece. To finish the transformation, we just have to flip the head out. But hold on a second, we need to take a detour. Bumblebee's original toy is well known for having a face shield that diverged dramatically from the cartoon face model, and it's something we noticed back then, every bit as much as Ironhide and Ratchet not having heads. So the modern standard has been to favor the Toon model. So Bumblebee always has that cartoon inspired head. Um, I guess in the Battle of Faces, the cartoon won over the years. But where did that start? Well, let's take a little tour backwards in the timeline. As I said, all the modern ones are cartoon based. So, like this one, this one, this one, and this one. Even the Creos got in the game, and this one. And all of this is G1 inspired, but it's not actually G1. So, where within G1 did all of this start? Well, we're getting closer to the source. In 2004, the Transformers Collection released a box set of mini cars, one of which was a reissue of the original Bumblebee toy, but this time with a cartoon inspired face. But this is a reissue of a G1 toy. It's still not actually G1. And now we need to take a big jump backward in the timeline, 14 years, right past G2 into the final years of the real authentic G1 with Action Masters Bumblebee. And he's got that Toon inspired face. But whatever your philosophical position on Action Masters, the fact is he doesn't transform. This is not the end of the story. So let's keep working our way back and we find ourselves where we left off. So, what makes this toy great? 1989's Pretender Classics Bumblebee was the first Transformer to adopt the cartoon head design for the toy. That established a standard that persists to this day. It's nearly an unbroken lineage. So much so that when you do see the toy head on a toy, it's symbolic, right? It's clearly a novelty. It's a wink and a nod to the OG collectors. Now, looking at this one, if I'm honest with myself, it looks a lot more like Cliff Jumper than Bumblebee, but hey, it was a start. And we're not done yet. There are a few other interesting things I'd like to show you. Here he is in the package, and this is my childhood toy. I took decent care of my toys, but not so much when it came to the packaging, as you can see here. The way they packaged him in the bubble is partially transformed, the robot that is, and his arms are tucked back in car mode, making for a pretty strange presentation through the window. The box art is really great. I like how they did this three-layer cake to evoke the role of the pretender in the hierarchy. And I also like that they put Bumblebee in a more military action pose rather than the little buddy characterization that he always got in the cartoon. Of course, like so much G1 box art, this one's promising a level of articulation that toy simply will never deliver on. And then in the instruction manual, they used this same art, but something's different about the line work and that red shading on the head to where it looks like a completely different character. When you flip the instructions over to look at the Pretender shell, they've actually used different artwork. And this is a happy Pretender. He looks like he just told us that knowing is half the battle. Flipping over to the back of the box, you see one of those great G1 murals, and this one is promoting all four of the Pretender classics. So Bumblebee wasn't the only one. They actually brought back Grimlock, Starscream, Jazz, and Bumblebee. And here's a little bonus of what makes this toy great to me based on a personal story I'll share with you. Remember, this is my childhood toy, and if you look at the price tag, you can see that it was purchased at a toy store called FAO Schwarz for $14. And FAO Schwarz was this really famous toy store in New York City. And my family took a trip in 1989, me and my little brother and my mom. We went to New York on vacation. And it was a huge deal. This was like a really big monumental trip for us. We were super excited. We were going to see the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. And earlier that year, or maybe it was the year before, there was a movie that had come out called Big. That was a 1988 movie, and we watched that movie as a family, and we loved that movie. There's a really famous scene that's in FAO Schwarz where the main character and his boss dance on this huge floor piano. And so when we plotted our itinerary for our big trip to New York, we really wanted to go to FAO Schwarz and dance on that floor piano, and we did. And so when we were there, I bought Pretender Classics Bumblebee. Years and years later now, I took my own kids, my own family to New York City. And in preparation, we watched the movie Big. And they loved it just as much as I did when I was little. And we went to the new FAO Schwartz. They've moved locations. It's over at Rockefeller Center now. Same experience though, huge store, multi-floor, just packed with toys and just happiness and joy. And, we had a great time. So now it's become kind of a multi-generational tradition for us. So what makes this toy great? This is the one that established the new standard that Bumblebee toys would have a Toon-inspired head, and that standard persists until this day. And whenever I pass by the display case and catch a glimpse of that FAO Schwartz sticker, it always gives me a good feeling. So if you enjoy this sort of thing, I hope you'll take a look at the other videos on the channel. We talk about trivia and history and repair techniques. Say hi in the comments. Let me know if you've got any Transformers pickups that remind you of fond childhood memories. As always, I hope you found this information useful, and we'll see you next time.